Hari Om Tat Sat. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We have been looking at chapter 2, sloka number 7. That speaks of confusion with which Arjuna is approaching Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And Arjuna is talking to Krishna that at my heart I surrender to you. Kindly guide me. I'm so confused. In Kurukshetra, and while dealing with the first sloka, we understood what is Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is the kingdom of Kuru, the dynasty on the battlefield on which the battle need to be fought is our life. And we are nothing but Arjuna. And our kshetra, the field of where we work, if we happen to be a businessman, that is our battlefield. Because there too, how confused we are, should I make that decision or this decision? If you happen to be a housewife, there are also a bunch of time that we don't know what to do, or how to behave with the children, how to behave with the spouse, how to behave with in-laws. So first, let me once again review the sloka, and then we go into the explanation. Going to Karpanya dosha upahata swabhava prichami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha yacheyaha yashyan nishantam bruhi tanme shishyasya te aham shadi mam tvam prapannam. What it, first of all, looking at the Karpanya dosha, the coward nature, miserly nature, something that prevents us from executing our duty. Upahata, disease, that means it gets hold of my nature. It does not let me do my duty. And if you will apply this is nothing but our life. We think we want to do it, but we cannot do it. Okay? So diseased, it gets control over. Swabhava, characteristic, nature. Prichami, word prichami. I am asking you, oh sir, this is my question to you, tvam, to you. Dharma, the word dharma refers to duty. Please don't translate as your religion. Sammuda, confused. Muda, meaning who is not aware of his real nature. And sammuda, the one with which he is or she is with that confusion. So, sammuda, confused one. Chetaha, in heart. In my heart, I'm so confused, or in my, whichever way you can take, or in my heart, I surrender to you. Yet, Shreya, Shreya, there are two words, prayer and Shreya. Interest and our love in the material nature is prayer, and Shreya, our love in the subjective manner or in the real self is Shreya. So here it's translating as best. Okay. Shata, maybe. Shata, nishchitam. Nishchitam, decisively, nishchit, decisively. Bruhi, talking, telling. Tat, that, to me, that may, to me or guide me. Shishya, the disciple. Te, Shishya te aham. Shishya, the disciple, that I am, aham, shadi, mam tvam prapannam. Shadi, request to you, sir, please do me, please instruct. Shadi, lead me to sadhana. Mam, me, tvam, oh, unto you. In other words, you please, I surrender to you and please guide me so that I come out of this confused state. The translation here, I'm confused about my duty and am besieged with anxiety and faint-heartedness. I am your disciple and am surrendered to you. Please instruct me for certain, for sure, nishchitam, what is best for me. Now, let me come out of it and we talk. In the first chapter, it is Vishada Yoga. It is nothing but the full of confusion. And what is that confusion? That across me, across in the battlefield, are my all relatives, my cousins and my parents and my uncle, all the soldiers, my even gurus. How can I kill them? This is what the Arjuna is asking Krishna, and he's just projecting the whole confusion. And the chapter 2, 7th loka is talking about the confusion. And what is that confusion? Why I feel confused? This morning, I was talking to a friend of mine. I'm just talking about the confusion, just to understand the world and how we can relate to day-to-day life. I happened to mention chapter 2, sloka 48, and it says, Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya, Sangha, association. So try not to say mine and yours. Then my friend of mine mentioned to me, but he says, Swamiji, look, we are social animal. And how can we live without Sangha? How can we live without association? And I said, an excellent question. This is how the karpanya, the confused state, comes into picture. We just look at the basic translation and how far we have been loaded with the material information all around. And we all know that we are a social animal. But at the same time, we are the most intelligent animal. And relationship is not going to go away. You may have spouse, brother, sister, in-laws, teacher, the friends, boss. But what happens is, you can say his son, but moment when you say he's my son, my husband, my boss, my house. So the relationship, the bond has been so mentally established that this is mine, I own them, ownership. And why I say ownership, say if in an earthquake, if my house gets damaged, I will be so heavily concerned. But the third house down the road, if that gets damaged, I say, thank God our house didn't get affected. Thank God, because this is our house. And that relationship, if it is established, and we don't know, consciously, unconsciously, through the society, through the parental instruction, the proprietorship, the sangam, the association is so well established. But right from the childhood, if we have been given this sanskara, that we are the custodian, we are the trustee, we are not the owner. As soon as that thing is cleared, then karpanya dosha, confusion, will not be there. In that case also, surrendering is always good, because that's where to the wise people we surrender. And remember, the word Shreya comes into picture. Even though we may memorize this stanza, the sloka, but the word Shreya will be interpreted as a prayer, meaning, house, I love my house. I love my car. I love my wife. I'm not saying don't love your wife, but the point is, beside loving, you are owning. Why? My wife. It is a relationship. It is a field, but let it not be a battlefield. Let it be a karma bhumi. And what I meant by karma bhumi, this is the life you're going to live. And the past karmas that needed to be executed, and that will fructify, it will help to bear the fruits. But if we understand what I'm doing right now is just bearing the fruits of it, but with an awareness that I am not the doer, I am not the owner, I am the trustee. So we all the time say, oh Lord Krishna, I surrender to you, please guide me. I read Bhagavad Gita every day, and particularly the sloka number 2, chapter number 2 and sloka number 7. Remember how often I say I surrender to you, but you don't listen to me. As soon as you bring in the word but, and then we are blaming Krishna. But really speaking, who is Krishna? And before we begin Sri Bhagavad Gita, we will ask this question that we'll be learning, not who is, but what is Krishna. And this is where it comes very handy. Krishna is nothing but your undisturbed state of consciousness. And what I meant by undisturbed state of consciousness, cloudless nature is not there. Confusion is not there. Society is there, but ownership is not there. Material things we have, but we are not the possessor. We are just the trustee. We have a life to live. We need to have the roof over our head. We need to do the job. We need to go from place A to place B, transportation. Perfect, no problem. But do not be possessed by, really speaking, how often we say, oh, look at this, my house. I live in it. And if you genuinely ask, are you living in the house or house is living in you? And this awareness, if we keep it, then what shall happen? You're not letting your mind decide that who is the owner. This all have been provided. That doesn't mean you do not do your karma bhumi, but without ownership, without proprietorship, only with a trusteeship. And anything and everything that comes to you as a prasad. When we were learning Ishavasya Upanishad, in the third quarter of the first sloka says, Tena Tyaktena Bunjita. Mind you, even Upanishad does not say do not enjoy. Enjoy. What? Tena Tyaktena. Tena by whom? By the universe, by the flow of nature. Tyaktena, allocated to you. Such and such person allocated to be your life partner, and you spend the life because there are certain karmas that need to be fructified. Fruition is to take place with your life partner. There are certain fruits need to be materialized for you to work at a certain place. For there are certain fruition to take place with you having either your brother or sisterhood or your in-laws. Every interaction is destined to happen. And if certain relation does not go well, there is also a lesson to be learned. So that is also a gift. So at the time of any suffering that comes, that is not truly a suffering. It is to sharpen the awareness that Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya, oh Arjun, leave the association, leave the minus and I-ness. And that minus, I-ness, possession, these all words constitute ego. How often we all the time say that I don't have ego. I'm egoless person. I'm so humble. But the very first word, I am, that indicates that. And this path of spirituality is for ourselves only, for myself only. And this is not to be approved by anybody. Because who would know you other than you? Nobody. No matter how much swearing I do. You accept this as husband and wife, yes. And in the court also, the oath has been taken. But that's a social oath. Are you true to yourself? And what is to be true to is to be first aware that I am a jiva. This is just the body, but my true swabhava is Shreya, my heart, my intuitive instructions. I am just an instrument of divinity. That is so powerful. And if you are just an instrument, and if we take the example of husband and wife, spouse relationship, how the confusion comes into picture. He is my husband and he must do what I'm asking him to do. Or she is my wife. And she must meet my schedule and blah, blah, blah. But do we ever think, the words like space? Why can we not think that today I feel like bicycling? And my wife may think like going to the swimming instead of bicycling. But at that time, you cannot say my wife has to join me for swimming. If you allow some space, let her grow and you grow. That doesn't mean you two are not husband and wife. There is no ownership. These are companionship. These are trusteeship. So the word space, other word, if you do not allow space to happen, then you are no more an open person. And what I meant by the word openness, that it's not all, most of the time, we feel that I'm right and the other person is wrong. Not only not right, but wrong. But if you give a benefit of doubt that I am right, but she may also be right, as soon as you give this benefit of doubt, what happens? You grow, and you are not bound by the limitation. You are no more confused like Arjuna is or was. Then how can I do that? How can I kill them? But here you say, how come my wife does not follow me? Or how come my husband never joins me? We are not open. We do not allow space to take place. Here, I'm taking this word confusion. Confusion is not only in Kurukshetra. Confusion is in day-to-day life. Confusion is often created with contemplating on the wrong ideas. And what I meant by the wrong ideas, we are so besieged, we are so governed by some sad aspect of life. What I meant by sad aspect of life, we contemplate on some nonsense. 20, 30 years ago, something has happened. If I'm a businessman, I come across my friend Chris, and I say, Chris, really speaking, I hope this day never comes. 30 years ago, when I was running this business, I lost my shirt. And so Chris says, oh my God, I feel so sorry. 30 years ago, it was one of the events. And that was also a good learning lesson and a warning. Don't get too deeply locked into my business, my property, my stock market. And then you go and it says, I go to temple every day and I pray Krishna. Please see that my stock portfolio is safe. What? That means this is how we breed the confusion. It's not only, first of all, we made a mistake in owning all this thing, but holding on to so tight that it remains in your ownership. And thereafter, blood pressure goes up, this and that. Your temper goes up, your anger follows, anxiety follows. But this basic root, we do not apply the fundamental understanding. And this is not going to happen overnight, mind you. This world one needs to contemplate. And after having this talk with my friend, it gave me such a joy that he asked me, this is a so powerful word, openness, space, and contemplating on negative, irritating ideas. He wanted to know what I can do and how I can remind myself. I want to contemplate on these three words. A few words that we'll talk about some other time. But here different, I'm explaining the word Kurukshetra, Dharmakshetra. This is Dharmakshetra. But if we are not careful, then one that beholds you is adharma. That makes you irritated, that makes you feel disturbed. And this is every day, every moment's affair. So some of you will say then in that case, how did you advise to take care of those three words? That reminds me of another friend of mine. When I was in his office, and we were having chat, and then all of a sudden I heard ting. First time I didn't understand, and our conversation went on, and an hour later, ting. And that gave me such a joy. It made my whole day so beautiful that he told me that you remember a long time back, you had advised to set an alarm in my alarm clock every hour on an hour basis, just a little ting sound, so with which you will remember to have 5 breaths in through the nose and out through the lips. So every hour on an hour basis, if there is any stress accumulated, if there is any ownership that has been accumulated, if there is any proprietorship is indicated, if there is any I-ness, minus is executed, then be aware of. Don't condemn yourself, but remember, this is our sadhana. So by breathing into the nose and out through the lips, we will be relaxing the body. We'll let our breath continue, slow down, slower the breath, slower the thinking. Higher the thinking, higher the stress. And slower the thinking means you are leading towards the peace. You're leading towards richer, immune system. And not only this, sometimes it reaches to such a state of calmness that the dopamine may be secreted and you will feel so happy and so joyful. And as soon as you get hold of that, this is where my ownership came into picture. Ownership is ownership, whereby I'm not saying be negligent, be irresponsible. Those are different things. Do not get confused with, as my friend was getting confused, stating that we are social animals. We have to have friends, husband, wife, family, children, grandchildren. To have grandchildren and to have their love, it's one thing. But to tell your children how to raise the grandchildren is secondary ownership. You do not let the other person lead. And indirectly, what you are proving is you are right and your son or daughter is wrong. And so he or she carries out the wrong virtues into their children. And you think you are the wisest person. But in this relationship, for sloka number 7, just understand. Do we really understand that we understand? This needs to be contemplated. And when we say, I surrender, at that time, start thinking and tell yourself, my house burned down, I surrender. Whatever is to happen will happen. And we feel conveniently happy. You know why? Because I have full insurance. Even if you don't have insurance, we are born. Divinity has given us this body. So at that time, let us be so fully assured that ours will be taken care of. Previously, we have uttered and heard this statement, Jabidanta Nathato Dudha Diya, जब दिन दंत दिया तो अन्न क्यों नहीं. Translation: when we were born and we did not have teeth to digest or chew or masticate the food, then at that time, nourishment ability in the mother's womb had been provided. You did not do it, nor did even mother did it. Let me put it this way. Mother developed that stage on its own. It's not on its own. Krishna sitting in mother is taking care of. That is surrender. And later on, if we are assured that now, since I have teeth, food will be provided the rest of the time, provided I believe in tena tektena bunjita ishavachya, something that has been allocated to me and I make use of it. Only those that come to us, but we are not the person. As soon as the COVID, this epidemic started setting in and or other problems, do you know, and I think all of us, we know that even big store like Costco ran out of tissue paper. Oh my God. You wanted to stock it for how long? Even that kind of stuff, we are not in the stage of surrender. We are liar. We just say, oh, Krishna, you help me. But where is Krishna? Where are you looking for? So, understanding the word samarpan, surrender, totality, it's not just a one word. It's not just the sloka 7. It's not only Krishna and Arjun. We all are Arjun. And in us, we all have Krishna. Krishna consciousness. Krishna in the spirit. What makes your heart pulsate? So, and few other things like, as soon as we differentiate between yourness and myness, that's where all the problem comes. Taking even the daily lifestyle, as soon as a girl gets married, her mother advises being a real good mother, quote unquote. Okay, that's what they think. That make sure that do not let your mother-in-law dictate every term. You just take care of your husband and also don't listen to every order from husband. So she has been brainwashed right now. But no girl has ever been told that, sweetheart, I am your mother, so is your husband's mother your mother too. There should be no difference at all. If your mother-in-law ever even feels tired, you should feel the hurt. You should feel sadness. And I was on a parallel line met a young girl. She was so much influenced by her mother-in-law that, and I had a chance to meet her mother-in-law, and mother-in-law is like an angel. She takes such a lovely care. Oh my God. And both of them individually. So whatever number of, she came to stay with her for a week or two. But in these 2 weeks, she was saying, oh my God, Sonaji, I'm going to miss her so much. And I don't think that after the office work, when I will come home, can I even enter the home in her absence? This shows that is there any difference between her mother and her mother-in-law? Oneness. And this happened to be own relation, but it could be anybody on the street. And we cannot serve everybody, but still do the best you can. And when he said, Arjun says, I surrender at heart. What does he mean by surrender at heart? I do not let my mind decide, I let my heart decide. And heart goes for the Shreya, mind goes for the prayer. So understand little word, Sanskrit is so beautiful, so powerful. And it is just the 2 lines that we are learning. But even these 2 lines can change our life. And all the world, all our involvement in the social group with I-ness, my-ness, I am the always right, other person don't know, I am the boss, okay? And these kind of poisoning the mind with who has given us the right even to be parents. And with these awareness, how could we even call ourselves parents? So, dear friends, tena tyaktena punjita, enjoy whatever has been allocated to us. Every time I-ness and my-ness comes into picture, draw a clear line. And be always assured when you did not have the teeth, you were nourished by your mother very now. And once you have teeth, and your body has been given strength to work for and to serve the society. When you want to serve the society, it is not your responsibility, your body to have strength. And nominal things to support yourself. When I say nominal thing, that doesn't mean a house in Beverly Hills. Okay? If you get it, so be it. And I'm not any against for it also. But try to be sure with I-ness and my-ness. This morning, I came across a little picture that touched me so heavily. How humble a person can be. I forgot the name, but he is the CEO of Infosys, a huge software company in India. And there is another entrepreneur, Mr. Tata. He is a very good businessman, entrepreneur with a divine heart. He works and helps everybody. And if I tell you one or two examples, perhaps it may not be even conceivable for most of us. But that guy Tata, his turnover or his asset was not as good as the guy up in Infosys. But when the Infosys fellow got an opportunity, he bowed down to Tata, getting his blessing. And I think in 2009 or so, there was a fire in one of the nicer hotels that Tata owned. Fire and shootout and whatnot. But let's not get into that side. But this guy, the owner of that hotel, whosoever got killed in that, he visited each and every family, assured the wife and the children that your salary, meaning your husband's salary, which was coming to you, will continue, whether he's there or not. Children do not have to worry. I will take care of their education and well-being, to the degree that if the student deserves it, I will be glad to send it to USA or Germany or England, whenever. This is understandable, but understand that hotel being so remarkably big and beautiful hotel, the hotel was closed because of this fire and others. Is it the taxi driver's business was affected? Guess what? Tata even took care of some of those taxi drivers whose business got affected. Not only this, but those who were little bit candy shop and toy shop or the newsstand, because their business, their income got affected, he even took care of them. This is the heart that the person has. And these are the feeling, these are the hidden blessing that comes to him. Understand, those taxi drivers are not his. Candy shop owners are not his. But still, he thinks, because of my hotel got on fire and their business got affected, I want to see that they survive. And by the way, he's not married, okay? He doesn't have any children, but these are all his children. So what does he think? As divine has given me so much of money. Money is for what? Utilization of the social welfare. Dear friend, we'll end with this. Openness. What was the second word? First was the openness. Second word was space. Third was contemplation. contemplation on negative, irritating events. Instead of that, utilize the positive, calmer, serene thoughts. As soon as even a single irritating thought comes, make it a point, part of our sadhana, that we will not talk about it. Gone is gone, done. Why we want to do it? Just to earn other people's sympathy? So, openness, space, and no contemplation of the irritating negative thoughts. Instead, positive thoughts. And Geeta, have full faith in divinity. As we were nourished during the childhood, and we are still being nourished now, why do we worry about it? So once when that thing is done, then there's no confusion. There is no ego, there's no doership, there's all trusteeship. Dear friends, so nice to be with all of you. God bless you all. And if we have few minutes, few questions, I don't think you have, but still, nevertheless, if you have, let me give you the, keep your mic on, try to be brief. Just give me a minute. Only if you have question. Okay, would you raise your hands and let me see. Nobody? Very good.
Sumesh sir, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, just for discussion's sake, an example, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. How, even though I am good to the mother-in-law, if mother-in-law is not treating me well, how to continue that? How to ignore that?
First of all, why your treatment depends upon how she treats you. And love is the answer. Meaning, if you love her unconditionally, even a dog cannot bark at you, dear friend. Difficult, I understand. But path of sadhana, nobody said it easy. And equally it is easy because you are expecting your mother-in-law to behave in a certain way like your mother treats you. You can intend to disagree, but think over it, Vision. And I know it is not your question, and this is the question in general you may be asking for other people, but it is a very appropriate question.
Well, sir, can I ask a follow-up question?
Go ahead.
Can you say that, like, if, like, you're saying, like, oh, your love doesn't have to be conditional on how they treat you.
Would you, I'm sorry, Raksha, can you
hear me now?
Okay.
So you said, like, that your treatment of them is not conditional to how they treat you. Like, you must love them regardless of how they treat you. But what about loving yourself? And
Excellent question. Excellent.
and how is that conditional about, like, are you loving yourself if you're allowing yourself to be treated poorly?
First of all, who decides poorly? It's your mind that decides. Your mind expects her to behave in certain ways. But as soon as your intention, your motto is to love and serve, you will have such a joy in serving and surrendering. That's
But
it.
you're not loving yourself if you are,
That is your love, my dear.
by accepting how others are treating you. And it's not just mother-in-law, it's like for any friendship, family, anything, any like situation.
Whether other treats you or not, you are treating them right. That is loving yourself. Because by you loving them, doesn't it make you feel good?
It may make you feel good,
May not
but
be. If you are genuinely loving, it will.
I have a question. May I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
If you're in an, I think that's an excellent point that she brought up, because if you're in an abusive relationship, if somebody is abusing you, for you to say, well, oh, okay, I love you, and you end up destroying yourself in the process, that's not good. That's destructive.
Okay. And it's an excellent question also. You see, even if you go away from it, you did your best. Okay?
Right.
So Yogakshema, meaning you did your best, and that's only thing you can do. And if that thing did not materialize, wish him or her good luck and simply walk out.
So yes, so sometimes the best, most loving thing is to love yourself and to leave the relationship.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong in it.
Exactly.
And
I agree.
you go leave it, but with a good intention.
Yes.
Still wish him or her good luck.
Exactly.
Genuinely.
Exactly. I agree. I like that, because otherwise it's so many people say in Christianity and fundamentalist Christianity say, oh, just love the other person. Oh, just love them. And sometimes love means forfeiting yourself and forfeiting your own needs and your own self-love, as the girl was saying, which I think was an excellent point. And so what you're saying is sometimes it's best to leave the relationship, but wish the other person well as you depart. Thank you.
And
yeah, I definitely like that.
what 1 second. You remember in the very starting of Bhagavad Gita, the confusion comes. Here, it's not a matter of living, it's a matter of killing those people for better good. He's not killing them for himself. Okay? That's why I'm also not saying you kill anybody, but you kill is not even a proper word. You break that relationship and move on. Okay? And at the same time, you be thankful to him or her for allowing you to undergo your fruits without you being reactive. He is not treating you right because of your karmas. If you believe or not, it's a different story. Okay? But very good question, Chris. Somebody else had a question? Sujata, my dear, you are smiling and laughing. Very good. Good to have. Anybody else? Wow. So, conclusively, I hope you will remember at least those 3 words out of today's whole day's quiz, this talk. Okay. Venkat, do you have a question, dear friend? All right. So let's have a concluding prayer. Have your eyes closed, and by now, I presume all of us must know this. Om. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That's it. I so much appreciate all of you giving me the nice company. And this type of question, very much look forward to. Okay. And there's nothing wrong, there's nothing right, but the clarity need to be sought. And it's not clarity in your mind. I get an opportunity also to clear my thinking. Hari Om.